No, we had a great year. We had a great year. Sorry for being late.
No worries. Thanks for jumping on, John.
No problem.
So thanks for setting this up. So John, just so you know, my name is Craig Waldron. I'm the COO of Holding Corp. I think we have some internet coming from John's side, right?
Is that me?
Do you have your external speaker going on, John? Oh, there you are. You're on mute. Cool. That'll work for now. So I'm the COO for VideoNet Holding Corp. We do custom app development, mostly diving into like the video collaboration solutions area. So we deal with everything from your federal, state, local, secure conferencing up to corporate deliverances like this one here is provideomeeting.com. This is one of our sister platforms that we created, one of our business verticals we made. Another one is for telehealth. That one's called HIPAA Video. If you ever look at it, it's hipaavideo.net. So we're kind of in every sector you can think of. Education uses, with VIA 3, the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice uses VIA 3, which I'll show you here in a minute. I think one of the things was to demo where we're at with that product, because we want to basically expand and get back out into the market with the state of Virginia for the use of VIA 3. So, Patty, yeah, please, you're on mute. You're on mute again. Click it one more time, just one time. I think you double clicked.
Yeah. John, hi, it's Patty. Did you speak to Matt at all about the conversation we had, Matt East?
John, you're muted.
John's unmuted. I don't hear him though. Did you disconnect your microphone, John? Got his video coming back in. I see you now, John. Just can't hear you.
Yeah, he's definitely muted.
Yeah, and yeah.
He's saying 1 second. Is he making a change to his computer?
Yep. Hey, John, good morning. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Yay, we're here.
All right. It's just that
I was trying to change it because you guys were hearing an echo, and I have a display, an Apple display that has my camera on it with audio, but sometimes I switch that to the actual Mac itself. So I was fooling with it while you guys were talking. So now that we got it all set up, we'll be good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was saying before, and it was a mime, was that I wanted to talk about what my role and responsibilities are with Thundercat, right? And yes, Matt East did briefly fill me in when he spoke to me about the technology. But so I'm the director of what we call our collaboration group at Thundercat. And so my team is a subject matter experts and an overlay to all of the Thundercat reps, because there's only so much stuff you can fit in their head. And collaboration is one of those things, as we all know, it takes some expertise, special expertise for. So it's myself. My right-hand man is Paul Gaddis. Paul is a collaboration CCIE with Cisco. So there's only 3,000 of them in the world. He's a pretty smart guy. He's like master level and AMX and Crestron and all those wonderful things that we need. So I have an expert with me as well as the rest of the engineers on the team. But I wanted to come over and learn more about the technology, learn more about how we could help in the state of Virginia as well as other places. And also learn how we can make money off of it. Because
Right.
you know, if I sell it, you make money, but if I sell it, I need to make money too.
Absolutely.
So some important things there. But we started our collaboration. Have you guys had a Thundercat overview to know who we are as a company?
Yeah, we heard a little bit about it. We saw, but you can please
Sure.
give us the overview.
So Thundercat's a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, and obviously in the state of Virginia, that makes us a SWAM partner. We have numerous contracts, which Matt knows a lot more about. I would say that I'm lighter on the state and local than I am on the federal side. Federal represents about 95% of our company's revenue. And, you know, we are a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. That's where the name Thundercat comes from. It was our CEO's call sign in Iraq. Tom was one of those guys that was given that. There's a video that Lester Holt did an interview with Tom back during the war, and he was one of those guys that was getting all of the Beanie Babies and the candy and giving it out. He was part of the Reconstruction. He's a West Point grad, and he was shot by a sniper. So he spent a year in Walter Reed, learned how to walk again, told him, you know, this would be very difficult. And 2 years later, he ran the Army 10 miler. So we work for a Boy Scout, to say the least, right? That being said, the company, last year, we have 106 employees, and last year we did about $850 million in revenue. We hold we're the largest. NASA Soup is the largest government-wide acquisition contract in the government, and we're the largest NASA Soup vendor. We've done about $1.6 billion off of that contract alone in the past 10 years. So the company's very successful, and we're growing leaps and bounds. And state and local was something that was started up probably 4 years ago by Kent Stokely, and Kent is Matt's boss, if you will. And so not only do I work with the federal team, but I work with Matt and Kent and the rest of the SLED team so that I can bring best of breed solutions. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's knowing what problems it solves for the customer, right? And I'm not saying this because nobody knows. I'm just saying it so that you understand where I come from, because I think it's a good statement. Representing the partnership well, right? Because we're both investing in this, so we don't want to invest in things that are just going to waste your time, and surely it's vice versa, right? We want to be effective and, you know, delivering on, you know, what you guys need, which at the end of the day are leads, are well forecasted opportunities, and no mistakes when we go ahead and book them through all these different contracts, right? We want to be as perfect could be. So that being said, that's kind of like a high level overview of Thundercat, where I fit in, and then what we do going across the board.
Well, that explains why Matt decided to give us overview, because we'll be working directly with you, right? And you,
yes, and then I'm the bridge to the different sales reps,
right?
You know, I mean, it's, you know, I have projects this year that were 8 figures where I got an email from a sales rep and said, hey, can we do something with the Microsoft Surface Hub? Right. And then they bring it to me, and then it's up to me and Paul and the rest of our team to figure out what that means for the customer and solve their problem. So that's where we get really intimate with the partners that we eventually sign up and represent, because we want to know, you know, especially in the collaboration world that we're talking about now, there's pros and cons to any technology and any customer, right? And we want to leverage our strengths and hide our weaknesses, you know?
Yep.
Well, definitely opportunities, right? And based on their needs. So what we look at this as kind of like the tiered solution approach that says we have some common tools, common whatever you want to call it, that gets a job done, but then how do we really make it even more collaborative? How do we make it to where they can't live without it, that benefits their workflow? Or, like, I'll give you an example. We're working right now with, and Patty, Heart of Vita, so out of Long Beach, California. It's a senior community kind of thing where they're doing an outreach for digital inclusion for seniors who don't understand technology. They're training them, right? And they have a nursing nursing semesters out of Long Beach for Cal State, where they're taking all their student nurses and they're training and meeting with these seniors on a weekly basis. And these seniors are coming from Meals on Wheels. So they're starting off a little pilot with us out there. They get their footing. They understand how they want to build this, what features they want added to it. We customize it, we make it how they want, and then we're going to help them implement and be more of like a community-based outreach for digital inclusion. That's just like kind of a part in what comes from that. Virginia itself, they do video intakes with our platform. So they have officers who are out in the field. They arrest or have to maintain a youth and decide whether or not to take them in for intake or just send them home. And rather than leaving where they're at, they'll do a video intake over their phone or over a computer somewhere at a local CSU and determine what to do and what process to take. So they use our platform for faxing. So one of the tools we added is faxing capabilities because they still use paper, right? So we added that into the system. They don't have to leave the system to do the entire process now. So that's kind of like one of the biggest benefits is we give you a tool set, but then we can, customize it or use existing tools that we've already built and put them in and make your workflow better. This system right here, Pro Video Meeting, again, it's outside of, but it could be something you guys consider as well, has document signing built into it. This one has a patent pending deal where you can actually off the cuff, bring up a document, have somebody sign it and be on your way. So you don't have to open up a DocuSign. There's just so much to it, man. I got to tell you, there's so many different avenues we can go with. And again, depending on who we find, the leads you give us, anything we find that you can help us kind of wrap up the deal. Kind of like how you said, you guys understand the inner workings of contracts and how to work with somebody's budget, for instance, because Virginia, we work with the regional director and we also work with Tyrone Jackson. He's the one that came up and created the program himself. We were in the Supreme Court also. We were in the Supreme Court, Fairfax County. I don't want to say HHS. There's another kind of like a telemedicine a provider network that we were involved in for a couple of years there, or almost 15 years. We've been a part of Virginia. So we're known there with the name Via3. And I could probably get a lot of reference there too.
Sure. Where are you guys based? Where are you guys calling from today?
We're remote. So we're a regular company. We started out in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is where we originally came from. And then we became more of a mobile kind of remote organization. So a lot of us are in Seattle, New York, Florida. I'm in Arizona.
I'm in New York.
Jeff is in Colorado. So we're all over the state, all over the country.
You have an office in New York, or you have the owners in New York, Tom? Is that right?
Yeah, because Tom lives in New York. Really, when we first started, the first two states that they targeted, because it was just Kent when they started up the state and local practice, and they focused heavily on New York and Virginia. And New York was kind of a real focus. They even went as far as to hire a lobbyist, which we still carry, and they put a lot of effort there. So from a New York, I know there's an OGS contract right now where Kent came to me and said, it's different because OGS is how they buy all their stuff in New York, evidently. And once again, I will certifiably say I'm 25 years selling stuff in the federal government. I can tell you everything, but SLED is new to me. But with the OGS contract, there's a cloud-specific contract which is reversed because as a VAR, we're allowed to add vendors to it, versus it typically being something that the vendor adds us to, right? So that's something that they're doing. But a lot of business in the state of New York and Virginia. And that doesn't preclude us from doing other states. But those are two huge focal points for the team.
But things like that, not just New York or Virginia. We do other states like Utah, for instance. Anywhere else you guys would be able to potentially look at it and work with us on those. if something came along, or are you strictly just staying within the New York, Virginia kind of area for now?
I would say that we could help you anywhere, right?
Okay.
The contracts, and Matt has the details. I know he has several CONUS-wide contracts, right, that are applicable to any state. You just need to advertise it to the customer, right? And I'm sorry, I don't know the names.
Yeah.
Right, that's their expertise. But we have several of those contracts, so we can do business with those contracts anywhere. When I say focus, it's like anything building your business. They wanted to focus in those 2 states first, and then move out because Tom lived in New York. We're based in Virginia, and it was natural there. But he has a whole host of different contracts that are can be used across. I guess it's any municipality could use it.
Yeah, because we're working on anywhere that we can find contracts, whether it's direct pay, if it's through a grant, or if it's through an RFP, RFQ, et cetera. I mean, we've been through the gamut before, so we know how long and how difficult that could be. But it's the benefits, outweigh the time and money spent. We're backed by, just FYI too, we're backed by a billionaire plus his brother, the Bergs. If you ever look them up, Carl and Clyde, they've been investing in us since early on, back when we first started 15 years ago plus. And we have a private amount of people who have our backing to, once we really situate ourselves and we're ready to go, we're going to be marketing like no tomorrow. So whether that means bringing on board somebody saying, hey, listen, if you want this technology, you need to communicate with us in Thundercat. You need to communicate with XYZ. I mean, we will just take each other, because there's going to be a revenue share. We're going to make money because you're going to help us make money. That's exactly how we see it. Why would we have to partner with anybody other than, something that benefits both? Right?
And we are, we are all entrepreneurs within our own rights, right? I've done sales my whole career. One of the owners, Vito, has been on Wall Street for many years. Don't hold that against him. No. But we've raised a lot of money for a lot of companies. So we really do have that spirit. We understand how rev share works. We want everybody to win. So I think I felt that when I spoke to not only Kent, but with Matt, that we really do have a kind of a fit. We do have a fit, not kind of. Like, I think we can work well together.
Okay. So the platform, I guess, from getting into the technology standpoint, can you simplify that for me?
Sorry.
Is this the platform? Because we have different platforms. I'm hearing we have different ones for different verticals, if you will, right?
Yep.
But we also have the ability to be flexible with the customer and do some customizations that might specifically fit their need, which might be niche too. So I guess, can you just go an overview of like, this is what we're really good at, kind of thing?
Yeah. So here's what I'll do. I'll start off with the fact that this is pro video meeting. This is your typical business tool that it's even simpler than a Zoom, right? It's easy to use. It's link based. All rooms are private and locked unless you decide to unlock them. So you had to wait for Patty to let you in, so you're not going to get Zoom bombed. So we've taken some extra precautions there. Plus, you can do things like the screen share. You can call out and call in. There's a conference bridge that's directly tied into this video call. So I can call somebody, and this is something I do all the time with my CEO, is he's on the road. So I call him into it. He'll just answer the phone, and he's in the call with us, and I can drop him if I needed to. So this turns into a phone call and conference bridge. Then the document signing, we're starting to do pilots here right now with a couple of attorneys, some car dealerships. There's also a travel agency around the country that's doing this for document signing because they need consent forms, or they need to hire somebody on the spot, or they need to negotiate a price and say, okay, this is just sign this here for me, and they digitally sign it. You can also do YouTube video playback in here, so for training purposes, and you can also create yourself a vanity room. So you have a URL that never changes. So I can have /Craig Waldrop. You come to that. It's like coming to my personal conference room, just knock and say, hey, are you there? If I'm not there, you can send me a message saying, hey, do you have a second to meet? And I can hop in with you. Typically takes no longer than like 3 to 5 seconds to get somebody into the call. So ease of use, You have the features you need. This is business case just to have meetings, and it connects to Google Calendar too. So that's with PVM. There's more to it, but that's just straightforward. And then I want to show you the Unity side. I call it Unity because that's the name of it. We're calling it VIA 3 actually. VIA 3 is the name that Virginia knows us by. So let me do a screen share if you don't mind. And if you have any trouble seeing this, please let me know, because I'm just screen sharing the same one that I'm using the video call on. And what I'll do is kind of go through the basics, because all the features are there. We're just going through a major UI and branding revamp, which is going to wrap up over the next month or so. And I will show you the examples of those. So think of this as just, this is what Virginia uses right now, simplified, right? It's just boxy, straightforward on how they jump into meetings, direct message, and jump into a channel, which if you use Slack or something like that, just your collaborative room for sharing files and having meetings and such. But in our case, this is going to turn more into a mobile-friendly, responsive website. And I'll show you those designs once after. But let me just kind of touch on the features themselves, which again, I call our base features for the product. So as you can see here, I have my direct messages, which is more of a messenger inside of the app. It's all browser-based, right? So you can see here from my Chrome window, I can hop between different multiple messages. If I get a new message coming in, it'll blink and it'll show a different color, and as well as a little notification chime. So I can directly message, upload files to one another, and jump into a quick call if I had to with that person. So that's the messaging side of things. I can also do group messages. So if I do a group message, there's Jeff, by the way. Thanks, Jeff. So while his is signing up, I'll say, hey, Jeff. And on his side, he's going to see like a, Jeff is typing kind of message. Perfect. All right. Cool. Thanks, Jeff. The meeting side is quick meetings. Again, I can quickly just start a meeting, ask me who to send the invite to. I can say to Jeff, for instance, if he's an existing user of mine, or I can invite guests outside of the account, or they'll get a text message or an invite. If I send this to Jeff, honestly, because he's already signed up, if he just looks at his dashboard page, he'll see that he has a meeting already set up with me. And he can jump into a call. If I click on join call here, my video camera is going to be off. So this is just me by myself. This holds up to 50 plus meetings, 50 plus participants inside of these meeting rooms. And I should see Jeff if he clicks on that. And I'm sorry, I don't even know if you're still there, Jeff.
I am. I'm joining the meeting right now.
Oh, okay. I'm just talking as if you're just going to go ahead and do it. So once he gets in here, while I'm waiting, I could be uploading files into this channel specifically. I can create folders for just this meeting alone, right? Or I can refer back to files I have. So these are like my files that I have access to. Different files, different fax files, different documents that are mine, separate from channel files. So Jeff has jumped in right now. I saw that he's in my room with me. And any second, I should see him joining in.
Well, I don't want to cause a
in
crazy audio loop feedback because we're both in the same two meetings.
No worries, no worries. So I think he saw that you jumped in.
Yeah.
Hey, Patty, also, I think in the meeting itself for PVM, if it comes down to 5 minutes because you set a time on it, it's going to ask you to continue the call so it doesn't drop us. So
yeah, we got 27 minutes left.
We do? Oh, okay. I thought it was less than that.
No.
All right, good. Okay, so anyways, inside of the call itself, you have all your controls of a typical video call, screen share, you're raising your hand if there's multiple people, kicking attendees, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
So
if you click the heads, you'll see that I'm invited.
Yeah, so up in here, I can see that these are the people I've invited to the call, but these are the people that are actually in here. And trust me, when you see the change in the UI, this will all even more make sense. But this is very straightforward. I also have a chat section specific for this call. Let me drop out. And I don't have to be in the video call to collaborate. I can just hop in, send a message or two, and walk away. So I think, as I mentioned before with the channels, we talked about similar at some kind of similarities to Slack, where we wanted people to create projects in multiple rooms so that they can hop in and out of at any time, and that you can specify who has access to those to quickly jump in. You can see Jeff hopped in here with me too. So I have only a couple of people who have access to this and who can jump in to see this. Same kind of look and feel. You have your files, you have your chats, you have your video call. But this is all to keep track in historical, meeting and connections. Channels, I have plenty of channels, by the way. So you can see here with Tyrone Jackson, I have a couple here that I meet with him on. This, again, multiple cards, but that'll get cleaned up. And I keep telling you that because I can't wait to show you the other ones, the other designs. Let me get out of here. And then lastly is apps. So this is where we were talking about customization, right? So you have your base features, you can direct message, you could jump into a channel, you can create meetings, and you can also manage your files as if it's like a Via 3 OneDrive. But the main thing about Via 3 is above and beyond that, what more can they integrate or use inside the system outside of a secure video call and messaging system? Well, that's where you have things like we're working on a live stream system right now, so don't mind this, but it's there. We have an intake app that's specifically built for VDJJ, but it's a queuing system, and I don't think I have access to this one because it's live for them right now. But think of it as intake officers are all sitting in a queue waiting to be seen by police officers who have the juvenile, and they're waiting to do an intake. And even a doctor's office, if you have multiple patients that are waiting in a list of queue, that how long they've been waiting for, and then you just call them in as you need to take care of their sessions, right? Then we also have, we're going to work on document signing. We have faxing implemented. I think I spoke about that specifically for Virginia. So if you see here, this phone number is assigned to them in the system. And so
Your audio just cut out. Craig, I don't have audio from you anymore. Also, yeah, Craig. I blame this.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I just.
Okay.
I think Craig's internet froze. He'll be right back.
He just lost power in his whole house.
Oh,
It happens.
Yeah.
well, Patty, as a host, on the left, you can click the call button, and you can dial them in.
Hello.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate. What timing?
Very. I'm looking to see if maybe I have something that I can switch on my breaker here, but everything is off.
I remember when this is back when I was single, recently gotten divorced, and I was on a golf course, and it was when Tinder was new. And all the guys I was with was like, what's this Tinder? I was like, I got it. And they're all married guys. They're like, what? Show it to me. And I was showing them how it worked. And I was like, well, we just swipe this way. And then it worked. And there was a connection. And they were like, what's that mean? And I was like, that means that's the first software demo I've ever done that actually worked.
Nice.
It's always something.
I don't know. It's all. So I'm sure I probably have like a frozen image waiting or something, or it might have dropped by now. But oh boy, I don't have the design. Jeff, do you have
Yeah.
that PDF?
I do. Yeah. Let me get
Awesome.
that going.
Because I don't want to leave him hanging after all that time. I'm like, I can't wait to show you, and poof, I disappear.
Right.
And I think, John, it's important to know that our servers are here in the States. So
Yeah, we've got one in Virginia and one in Arizona, and we, can switch back and forth as need be.
It can actually be put anywhere. It's Azure Government. So we're registered with Azure on the government side. So all of our servers are hosted through there. We have, the FIPS compliance. I think we were working on, what is that government? What was it called?
FedRAMP?
FedRAMP, thank you. Yeah, we're going to work on FedRAMP.
That's a bear. My previous life, I was the executive sponsor of this VBrick Systems was the name of the company. I was there for 13 years, and I was the sponsor of their FedRAMP certification, which is a nightmare. I don't wish that on anybody.
Right?
I mean, you have to have it in order to sell it, but you can't get it until you've sold it to somebody and figure that one out.
That's right. Yeah, I know.
So we had 3 different sponsors. Eventually, it was Fish and Wildlife that got VBrick over the hump, and then right when they got FedRAMP is when I left and came to Thundercat.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what the new homepage will look like.
Oh wow.
It's basically what we just saw. It's just arranged in a totally different order. That's much more engaging. Like as soon as you see it, it just looks like something you want to interact with. Not so much with, the wireframe layout we have currently. But again, it'll all function the same as you just saw.
Yeah, so of course I'm playing this by ear a little bit, Jeff. So I'm picturing that you're showing the dashboard.
Right.
With the different blades of shortcuts. So the dashboard is going to be customizable, right? The most important things you want to see up front, your notifications, your channels, your meeting history, your upcoming meetings, maybe some new messages that came across your way, and then everything opens up as a, kind of like a switch, a column from the left side to right. We actually have a guy that's knee deep in Google development. He's a Google employee on the side, and he works on the mobile responsiveness side of this thing as well. So everything he's doing is kind of based off of best practices with respect to the UI side. And we also have the branding coming in as well that we just wrapped up. So over the course of the next month or so, like we'll have something very presentable, right? And in the meantime, it's always good to kind of understand how potentially we can work something out together. Since, like I said, we want to put a lot into this and really make an outreach happen. What would that look like?
Sure.
What do you guys need from us? That sort of thing.
So how do you guys license it? It's obviously a subscription, right? And the license, is it per seat license? Is it a concurrent license? Could it be both?
It could be both. It could be volume licensing. It could be, like a range from X to this X number of users for a base price per month. We haven't even wrapped up exactly what the actual pricing is going to be on that yet. But
obviously, we depend on how many users, right? I mean, it would be based on also how many users.
It could be discount
depending on
licensing
how many
per volume, for instance.
Yeah, because you could always invite unlimited guests, but how many users have file storage, for example, like stuff like that.
Or how many people could host a meeting?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, so right now the state of Virginia, the Department of Juvenile Justice is paying somewhere around $29.95 a month, and then we do the volume licensing deal with them. That's kind of how we work with them, even Fairfax County and the other organizations that we had from before. And I'll kind of outline them too with you guys. I can always show you who we've worked with in the past, who we're currently working with, and who we're trying to, attract. But that's kind of where we started off with. But being that you guys have dealt with contracts before, and we want to be able to get the biggest thing for our buck, we'd be more than happy to hear what you guys have to say or think we can do.
Well, sure. And that's where we need Matt, right? Because once again, I'm the technology expert and I have my customers in federal from the past, but we do need to have a joint call with Matt to say, hey, this is a technology, this is where they're located, where can we take it horizontally across the state of Virginia, if you will. Who else would this be applicable to, right? That's where we need to know for sure.
All right. Well, is there anything you could think of, John, that would be helpful to you from our team? Maybe it's like some form of a development call, get an understanding of where our infrastructure is and how everything's handled, or is there any questions off the cuff that we can try to answer?
No, I mean, at this time, what I want to do is go back to Matt and say, hey, if you could get me places where in the state of Virginia or just different examples of who's using it, what they're using it for, then he and I can have a brainstorming session and say, hey, Matt, this is what I know. This is what I think. What else? Where else could we possibly target this? And then he and I, after we have that conversation, we'll come back around to you guys and set up a subsequent meeting if that's okay with you.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
Do you? This might be mature, John, but could you just walk us through how it would work if we do decide to work with you in terms of pricing and what you would ask for, we're fine. We're open to anything. So this is not like a trick question. So how do we get paid from another source similar to ours?
Sure. So typically with SaaS solutions and being on subscription, obviously the model is that the total cost of ownership is after 3 years of SaaS, it should be equal to what they would buy on-prem plus 2 years of maintenance. It's typically the model for anything that's SaaS, right? And so we're taking the upfront capital that would be needed with the 20% maintenance for the next 2 years, and then we're amortizing that over 3 years. That's why everybody, when they go subscription, has to take a hit in revenue, and then it goes up because it's 8 times the dollar on the evaluation, right? So on subscription type deals, if you look at most SaaS providers, you're anywhere from 15 to 20% discount points off of list price, right? Where, when we go through bidding, we need to have protection from our partners. So if we find a deal, what typically happens is everybody in the world gets, all the partners that we have get this standard price, and then we get this price, and we're protected that because we found the deal. And then when we bid it, this price is pretty much going to be what we want the street value of our offering to be, because nobody's going to bid it higher. Now they're going to lose, right? So it's strategic to think, okay, well, how many? I'll give you High Vision as a company. They give everybody, all their partners, 10% off of list, but if you find a deal, you get 30, right? So there's 20 discount points in there, right? And that's what incentivizes the partner to be protected on those points to go sell it and then offer services and other things that pull through with the different technologies. Cisco WebEx is 10%, right? They have, it's 20% off and 30% off, but you have a gold certification, you get 27% off, and then it's 37% off. So they have 10 discount points that are in there, right? But then Cisco has all of the hardware that can pull through on that. So you have a blended margin with those types of things versus it being just, like with Zoom, for example. Zoom is so convoluted. I don't even understand. I had a call with them earlier this morning. They didn't care about partners when the pandemic was going on. Now, for some reason, they're all coming back really caring about partners when people have to get back in the office. I'm not a fan.
Mhm.
And then it's well, we have this and this and that and the other, and with the phone, you can't mark up phone toll charges, so you have to do and I'm like, I need a PhD in mathematics to understand how to do a freaking quote from you guys. This is not easy, right? So, I just given two examples of technologies and typically where we see, the protection. The protection's the biggest thing. If we have it's a flat discount for everybody, then, I have partners or vendors that come and say, well, we don't have that type. I'm not very interested because I just could have spent a year getting you a deal or helping you to get a deal, and we're working on it together. And then when it goes out to bid, somebody who did nothing can win it. That's not good. Right.
Well, we're hungry. We want business. We're willing to work with you guys, and I think that's speaks volumes about us. We're not greedy. We appreciate what you do. You'll probably appreciate what we do. So, and we're fun to work with. So,
all right. Well, then we go talk back to Matt, and then we'll come back around by the end of the week and set up next steps for that. Do you have paperwork for partners that would need like a partner template, paperwork, rules of partnership, that kind of thing?
Greg?
Something that can, so go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't know myself. No, the partnership paperwork I don't specifically have in front of me.
No, that's
I
fine.
know we can probably draft something together. Unless
We got
something
it.
is more of a template that you guys work off of.
Well, I mean, typically it's just, if something bad happens, this is how we remediate it type of language.
Yeah.
And then it also outlines the pricing, right? And what the different pricing is. If we don't have to, I mean, I mentioned that company High Vision. It's a word of mouth thing for them, but then again, I've known them for a very long time. But it's no consequence. I was just thinking if I was going to go to Matt and talk about it, if you did have paperwork, I could have that reviewed as well.
Yeah, we actually do have something drafted up already. So let me see if I can pull that. Patty is something like Larry had worked on before. It's something that we've introduced for some other structured clients, kind of similar to this. Like you said, it's a matter of who handles what, the pricing model, suggestions, so to speak. So I think we have something we can probably put together and send over.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
one other thing, John. I mean, if we give you a contract or whatever, and can we're nimble. Will you guys say, oh yeah, we want more? It's not good enough, or just will you work with us and let us know? That's my point.
I always like to have the rules locked down from the average deal.
Right.
So that there's an understanding.
Yeah.
You just want to have a situation where, you just want to have it clear.
Yes.
Right? Because the big, it's notorious. If it's the smaller, yeah. And then you hit one that's big and people's minds change. Right? The bigger the deal, all of a sudden people are interested. Right? So, you want to have that, set up ahead of time. So everybody understands.
Good.
That makes sense.
All right, John, any other questions? And I apologize. I'm going to go and see if I can light up some candles here in the house until I get some power.
No, it's perfectly fine. Thank you all for your time today. And as soon as I get back with Matt, I will come back, reach back out, and we'll keep this thing moving.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you, John.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
I'm going to call Greg. Thank you for setting this up.
Okay. Bye.